It's the 18th of February in the year 2019. Good morning and welcome to the best morning show here in the capital. That's Newday. And let's start off with the news. And coming up this morning, Dr. Ibn Chambers urges Nigeria to maintain its high security before, during and after the elections on February 23. And still in Nigeria, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) urged to live beyond reproach as some political parties accuse INEC of a deliberate attempt to delay the polls. Work to fix Esreso Ideja Bridge, which claimed 6 lives in September last year, yet to begin. And also be telling you what some assembly members in 2 districts want done to help fund community-led initiatives. And on the foreign front, gun battle with militant kills 4 Indian soldiers, civilian in Kashmir police. Details of these and many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. My name is George Quinnin, and on to our very first story. Special representative of the UN Secretary General and head of the UN office in West Africa and the Sahel, Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, says while the UN is disappointed with the postponement of Nigeria's election, it is urging the country to maintain its high security before, during and after the elections, which is February 23. Speaking exclusively to TV3 from Abuja, Dr. Ibn Chambers says the UN has identified some flashpoints with increased assistance to the Nigerian government for lasting peace in the country.
What is the sort of commitment you are expecting from them before, during and after the elections? Not just because they have signed an accord. It's a different thing signing an accord on a paper, but it's a different thing as well with respect to attitude on the ground.
You know, people have to act responsibly. And when you are a leader of a party and you're running, and mind you, I mean, this is an election in which there are 73 presidential candidates. Incidentally, one of, in my view, contributory factor to the fact that they couldn't hold the elections on time. I mean, the number of candidates and the ballot paper and the number of papers that had to be printed was just humongous. But each person who is putting themselves up for leadership of this country, that is Nigeria, and leadership of, they want to be senators, they want to be members of House of Representatives, they want to be governors, have a responsibility also as leaders to behave in a certain way. And that includes behaving in a manner that leads to peaceful coexistence of Nigerian communities. There should be a demonstration. They should lead by example, so that in their conduct, in their words, they must avoid, obviously, hate speech and language that incites to violence. They must show tolerance and be people who can rally, bring all their citizens together, whether it's at the federal level or at the state level. And this is the message, not only that the UN, not only the UN gives, but all the other international partners who are here, who are friends of Nigeria, that's whether it's the ECOWAS, former presidents are here as friends of Nigeria and working together with the UN, with EU. The message is the same, that the leaders must lead by example. They must show high responsibility and put the supreme interests of their country over and above their personal interests.
Okay. Many thanks to you. Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers is the special representative of the United Nations General, Secretary General, and also the head of the UN Office for West Africa. There is so much hope for the country to remain one and peaceful. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Abuja.
And now some political parties have taken on Nigeria's INEC for what they call a deliberate attempt to have the election delayed. At a stakeholders meeting in Abuja, these political parties did not mince words on their displeasure for a delayed poll. And here's another report by Komla Kluche.
This meeting by INEC was to gather the support of all stakeholders. The meeting was attended by the political parties, observer missions and members of the diplomatic corps. The INEC was clear.
Following a careful review of the implementation of its logistics and operational plan and the determination to conduct free, fair and credible elections, the Commission came to the conclusion that proceeding with the election as scheduled is no longer feasible. Consequently, the Commission has decided to reschedule the Presidential and National Assembly elections to Saturday, 23rd February 2019.
But the political parties were blatant in their protestation.
I think you must go further to apologize to the Nigerian nation because you have embarrassed us as a country and as a people. Now I know how we have to work hard to keep to your administrative guidelines with regards to nomination of candidates, conducting our primaries. And you have been extremely hard. So why should we accept your explanation now? So on behalf of the All Progressive Congress, we demand apology from INEC. We insist that it is wrong to have announced it at 2 a.m. You had the benefit to have announced it much earlier so that you can save us the cost that we have incurred.
It's so ridiculous. It's unfortunate that something like this happened. People travel far and wide. People came from abroad. People travel to their villages. People travel to states. People spent money. People spend money in the states, in the hotel, everywhere. At the end of the day, this is the election that has been announced for the past 1 year, 2 years, February 16, February 16. What now happened just 2 hours to the election? So this country, I don't know, but God is going to intervene and urging all Nigerians that have the mind to come and vote to also come and vote. If you have spent your money going to states, taking flight to states, please still take that flight to states on Saturday and vote for your right candidate.
You can't just, because of 1 or 2 local government, postpone the election. You're quite uncalled for, but we want to urge Nigerian and African that we should be patient and watch, and we believe that with this consultation that we have made, INEC could gear up and then give us a lasting democracy.
For many, there's hope for Africa's most populous country to deliver a credible election.
The press conference by the chairman of INEC for Nigeria, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, has just ended with a firm assurance to the people of Nigeria that this election, which is going to come off on the 23rd of February, will happen. And hopefully he is saying, or he has indicated, that he does not expect any hitch any longer. Any hitch in terms of technical reasons. They will do everything there is to ensure that the elections are held without any issues. From the National Coalition Center here in Abuja, Komla Kluche for TV3 News.
And INEC must live beyond disappointment. These are the calls from many Nigerians who say they are used to election postponement. Here's another report by Komla Kluche.
Alidu and Buka have sold oranges for over 10 years. A day without sales as a result of the elections is a big loss. Firm and resolute, they see a lot of hope in Nigeria's governance. Emeka owns a local drink warehouse. Despite, he together with others are upbeat about the elections.
This kind of postponement has been happening in Nigeria. This is not the first time. What we are expecting from INEC is they should do all what will be possible so that by coming Saturday, because we will be ready to come out and vote by this coming Saturday.
This is Nigeria. So somebody have to be conscious of himself for security reasons and otherwise. So let's pray. Nigeria is just in the hands of God.
I don't even clean my vote, clean my hands to go and vote. Later in the morning, there's not election. We don't even know what happened. All this ones, all the council support to let us know. All these ones, we don't really prepare people where they travel to go and vote. And some people where they don't sleep, leave their house, can't sleep around for where they want to vote. This one safe. Now we say of all this transportation, and they come next week Saturday. So we see the praise making those day weller.
I came purposely to vote
all the way from my village because I registered here in Abuja, and it cost me time and money to come. Only in about 4 hours to the election period, and they said the election has been postponed. I'm really next week, Saturday.
On the minds of many Nigerians, this election is the masterpiece.
Gradually, the streets are getting busy. Business activities coming back after that restriction that was imposed on the people of Nigeria as a result of the elections. The expectations are high. One of the demands that runs across is the fact that INEC should maintain the sanctity of this election and also ensure a free, fair and credible elections. For the people of Gariki here in Abuja, it is a call they are making on INEC to ensure that Nigeria becomes one after that voting on February 23. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Gariki, Abuja.
Komla Kluche is a man on the grounds in Nigeria, and he will bring us up to speed on happenings before and during and after the election. So keep watching TV3 for all the updates on the elections. And away from Nigeria, work to fix the Espresso Idija Bridge in the Ashanti region, which claimed 6 lives in September last year, is yet to begin. Motorists continue to use the partially collapsed bridge at their own risk for lack of alternative. Ibrahim Abuakar reports residents are worried more lives could be lost when the rains set in again.
A family of 6 drowned in the flood waters after their saloon car was swept away into the river at Adija in September 2018. The sad incident occurred as a result of the poor state of the bridge. Government officials visited the scene and promised to fix the broken bridge by December to protect lives and property. 4 months after the tragic incident, the bridge is yet to be worked on, posing danger to users. Motorists have to slow down and be extra careful in meandering through the other side of the road. The bridge linking Ejusa to other farming communities like Kwaso and Abenase is also not accessible to vehicles. Commuters alight at one end of the collapsed bridge and walk over to the other end before boarding another vehicle. The Oda River floods every time there's a downpour, rendering the bridge inaccessible. Users say they have no alternative than to risk their lives using the bridge. Government promised to fix the bridge in November last year, but this is yet to materialize. Efforts to find answers from local authorities when the repair works on the bridge will commence has yielded no results. For now, users of the 2 bridges have to continue using them at their own risk.
And now teachers and students at the Isaman Kakraba Junior High School in the Takwa Nswaye municipality of the Western region can now heave a sigh of relief following the construction of a 3-unit classroom block by the assembly. Stanley Nibler report, Form 1 and 2 students had to be combined in one room during lessons due to lack of space.
Isaman Kakraba is densely populated. It is one of the fastest growing settlements in the Takwa Nswaye municipality, but social amenities are not adequate. Education is one of the priorities of the community, but not much has been done to promote it. Isaman Kakraba has a school, which was established 4 years ago.
This community was without a public school, so with our visit, that we realized that there was a need for the place to get a school. So we started with the primary school in 2015. That year alone, the school enrolled over 300 people.
The mission team arrived in the school at the time school has closed. We gathered enrollment in the school has shot up due to the commitment and dedication of teachers to prompt teaching and learning. Inadequate classroom blocks prompted the community to provide 2 classroom blocks for the junior high school, but this intervention was not enough. Form 1 and 2 students are put together in one class, while Form 3 students occupy the remaining class. Construction of a 3rd classroom block by the community has stalled at the window level for lack of funds. The community solely depends on its information center for funds to execute social projects. Communities in the Takwa Nsoaya municipality, which do not fall within the catchment areas of mining companies, derive no support and have to rely solely on the municipal assembly for intervention.
Gold mining has its consignment, a catchment area. So if we are not captured within the community, there's no way you can be supported. This is what is happening.
In the case of the Saman Kakraba school, the Takwa Nsoaya Municipal Assembly stepped in.
The Takwa Nsoaya Municipal Assembly is keen on improving education, so it has channeled part of its resources into putting up this school with ancillary facilities just to provide comfort to students and teachers. Several of these facilities also exist in the municipality.
The school has been designed to include gender-friendly sanitary facilities for teachers and students, information communications technology lab, and spacious rooms. Takwa Nsoaya Assistant Director in charge of supervision, Kwame Gazianye, is hopeful of a good impact from the project.
With the help of this, teachers can get access to pupils at the right time that they want. This time not multi-grade, but ensure that they're able to make good use of the contact hours instead of putting children together where you cannot get them when your period is up to. Because we have standard or we have required number of teachers here to do the work. And it's believed that when they are able to handle them, we'll get a good result.
The team gathered, the Municipal Assembly has commenced procurement processes for furniture and will soon commission the school for use.
And that was Stanley Blow's report there. And if you're just tuning in, you're watching news here on Newday. On to other news. A video making rounds on social media by former AIDS Ambassador George Jomensa soliciting funds for the building of the National Cathedral have raised concerns. Let's take a look.
Joyce Mensa is coming out of Ghana. I'm from Ghana and we are building a church for Jesus Christ to come and live in Ghana because we have too much problem. We do not have enough schools for the children. We do not have enough drinking water. We do not have ambulances, so when people fall sick, they die. So we are raising $100 million in Ghana to build a church for Jesus to come and solve our problems. We need your donation. 100 euro. 100 euro. 100 euro. 100? Nobody?
Meanwhile, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah has asked that such persons be disregarded. He says only members of the National Cathedral Trustee Board have been empowered to seek for sponsorship outside the country.
Soliciting funds for the construction of the National Cathedral. We have done no such thing. I think the National Cathedral Board of Trustees is a designated entity that is raising their own funding for the construction of these national cathedrals. Yes, you notice a video out there. Again, we ask that all of such persons are disregarded. And if the Cathedral Trustee Board finds any persons indulging in these acts, they will take the appropriate action and deal with those persons specifically, because no persons have been authorized to go around raising funds other than the Board of Trustees themselves who are doing their own project. But again, you notice that it appears that it's an exercise to ridicule the country. And if you tie that in with other exercises to ridicule the country, you can begin to see a certain pattern that some persons are out there on a path to ridicule our country before the international community. Such persons should be condemned, such acts should be condemned, and we should ask them to rise to their patriotic duties and not be out there attempting to ridicule their own motherland before the international community.
Interesting revelation there. Now let's head to the foreign front, where 4 Indian soldiers and a civilian were killed in a gun battle in disputed Kashmir on Monday, a police official said, as India launched a hunt for suspected members of an Islamist militant group that killed 44 Indian paramilitary police last week. A police spokesman in the northern state of Jammu Kashmir said Indian troops had cordoned off Pinkland village in Kashmir's Pulwama district, where a suicide bomber rammed into a convoy of paramilitary police on Thursday. Another state police official who declined to be identified because the operation is not yet over said information had been received about the presence of up to 3 militants from the Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed group, including foreigners, inside a house in the village. The second police official said 4 soldiers and a civilian were killed in the gun battle. And that's how we end news here on Newday. You can get more news updates on our website. It's 3news.com. And Newday continues right after this break. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
Good morning. It's Monday. And Sinaso was exciting to watch on Saturday. She came on Music, the special Ebony edition. She was fantastic as usual. I mean, on the live band sing. I think our females have great talent.
They do.
You know, great talent.
I think that it's being harnessed in the right direction, and the fact that they're not doing the same thing everyone else is doing. Sinaso, for example, brings on a new twist to the music, and I'm happy that we're not copying the same old trend. They seem to find their own niche, and they're doing very well in that, you know, atmosphere, and I'm happy for them.
Look, Sinaso, Adina, I like the fact that a lot more of them who are coming up now are not exposing a lot of their flesh.
Exactly.
You know, they are rather letting people know their musical quality, their musical dexterity, as opposed to exposing their body parts
and they seem to be showing an African part of it, because I remember when you had Adina on the show, you were asking about you know, the song she had where she goes on the mountain and the whole attire and everything. You can see that they're at least using what we have in Ghana, which is good, because when people outside see these kind of things, they want to also patronize what we have in Ghana, and I think that's a good way to go.
What makes the difference for me is that if you have an artist manager, you will be managed. If you have an artist messenger, you'll be sending him around. So good morning. Well, we're back again like we never went away. My name is Johnny Hughes, and I'm here with Dr. Mrs.
No, it's okay.
Dr. Mrs.
So anyway, what's our lineup for this morning? I know you're just coming to make. I don't want to allow you. When I was away, you and Bright, what you did, I've told you, you're still not paid for it. But today we have very interesting things lined up for you. We'll talk about the 5th Biennial Conference. Of course, you want to find out what it is when we talk about scientific conferences, and what we're going to be discussing this time around. Universal health coverage and primary health care is a concern for many in Ghana, and it's long and far-fetched, but we certainly want to bring it closer to home for all of us to make sure we can access healthcare easily, and it is accessible to everyone in every corner of Ghana. And I think that's a very important
It's a very important thing, accessibility to health, especially knowing that we live in a country where we don't have a lot of ambulances, our social services. Somebody said our work and all of that. No, remind me to give you a hug. Yes, but remind me to give you a hug.
I certainly will.
But on Twitter, we'll also be ranting about the postponed Nigeria elections. Kamala Kluche is out there in Nigeria, and it will bring us all the details. But in Ghana, we'll be asking a question: why does it concern us if neighboring Nigeria, the Africa's most populous nation, has postponed its election? Why should we be concerned?
And again, the prophecies are rife, right? After the elections were postponed, I hear the electoral commissioner is going to die. As to whether he will die before the elections or after, only God knows. But we certainly pray for him. We hope he doesn't die, because Nigeria will need him to make sure the elections are conducted peacefully, which is what Africa wants. And then, of course, we'll talk.
Speaking of which, we'll also be having an exclusive conversation with Dr. Ibn Chambers. Kamala Kluche got an exclusive with him. We'll share that detail with you as well.
And then, of course, we'll talk about LECMA and the fact that they're offering scholarships to some disabled people.
There's only actually one person they are offering scholarship. So when we had the Community Connect outright broadcast at Triblow, there was this child who came with his mother who had cerebral palsy. The mother said she's been widowed. Nobody's taking care of her, and so far she's only gotten 800 cedis from the fund to take care of business and all of that. And so then I put up the question to the MCD and to the fund manager that, look, this child needs help. He's not in school, his mates are in school. What are you going to do? And then they agreed that we're going to offer some scholarship for it. So we followed up with it, and things are looking right. You know, they're filling the forms and they're doing the assessment. And so, if you will, in the next week or two, maybe 3, he should be back in school, in a special school, not just, you know, regular school, in a special school where it could be helped. And that's what we do here at TV3 Media General and 3FM. We get people to scratch people where they itch.
Certainly. And finally, you'll be talking to Nana Tudadzi. Maybe join us in studio to find out what has been going on.
I got so much on my mind to ask Nana Tudadzi, former chief of staff, lawyer extraordinary, expert in transitions. And he has a very interesting side that people don't know. People think it's
he's a very interesting man.
I
think he is.
To meet anyway. But let's say happy birthday to you, Benjamin Owusu, Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research in Tropical Medicine. It's your birthday. It was your birthday. I beg your pardon. Belated happy birthday to you, Benjamin Owusu, Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research in Tropical Medicine.
That's a whole sentence.
Belated. Yes, the whole is a full sentence. It's actually someone's thesis. But remind me to give you a hug.
I certainly will. Surprise. But anyway, at this point, let's take a break. We'll be back with the interview on the scientific conference. Make sure you stay tuned to find out what it's all about. Welcome back. There's a very important conference going to take place in March, and all of us have to be there because it's very important to our healthcare system and its delivery. Talking to me this morning about the 5th Biennial Scientific Conference are Dr. Gina Teddy. She is a lecturer at GIMPA and founding coordinator for the Center for Health Systems and Policy Research. And then I've also got Dr. Genevieve Cecilia Aite. She is a senior lecturer with the School of Public Health, University of Ghana, and she's also a member of the Africa Health Economics and Policy Association Local Organizing Committee. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
So let's start off by talking about this conference and why it's so important to us when we talk about it in terms of universal health coverage.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, the notion of universal health coverage came about in 1978 when there was the Conference on Public Health, which is popularly known as the Alma Mater, where it was declared that there has to be universal access to health for every citizen of every country. And it came about because there were inequalities or inequities in the distribution of health between countries and even within countries. So they saw health more or less as a fundamental human right. So that was when the whole issue of primary health care came about. And then there was the Health for All by the year 2000. I'm sure you remember that. So it's the same thing that we are trying to continue at this time. And then that is what has transformed into what we have as the universal health coverage now, which is looking more or less at the same provision of essential health services. But this time around, it has to be of high quality, it has to be efficient, and then it should come at a cost that will not make you worse off when you pay for health services. So basically, that's the whole conference.
Great. So obviously, this is not something that has just started. We've come a long way. We're still moving towards, the future. But when we talk about it in terms of Ghana and its attainment, how far have we come?
I think we've come very far in terms of its attainment, in that Ghana have taken certain strides in terms of the funding of healthcare through the National Health Insurance Scheme, where you contribute towards a scheme and then you don't pay at the point of healthcare. And that's the fundamental basis of universal health coverage, trying to provide primary healthcare. And then also making it affordable and making it possible so that people do not become worse off simply by using healthcare. But then the other milestone is also what we call the CHIPS, which is community-based health planning services program or strategy. And this is to increase or create inaccessibility, remove the barrier of inaccessibility. So they want to take healthcare right to the doorsteps of everybody and to make sure that people get healthcare right by their doorstep. Not necessarily going to the facility, but actually sometimes the health workers going to them. So these are key fundamental areas that they are increasing. And then also there has been a lot of policies to regulate funding, cost of healthcare, and also recently there was the removal of the VAT and other taxes on pharmaceuticals and medicines, and those are all key milestones towards universal health coverage. But with that said, there is still some gaps and problems. Yeah. In addition, you can see that there are new developments in health in terms of constructions and new buildings, especially you can see from the Rich Hospital, and I'm sure even within the regions, there are new hospitals, and you can talk about Volta region and all the other places where there
their improvement in health, which is the other side of the UHC, which is quality healthcare and all that. And I can even say that even human resources are even improving. We can see that the number of nurses being trained, number of doctors being trained, and other allied health workers are also increasing. So gradually we are on our way. We are not there yet, but we are
There's still more room for improvement. But of course, when you talk about these things, then that will play on government's, investment in healthcare and what they're doing to make sure that universal health coverage becomes a reality. But it's always good to compare ourselves with other people who are also implementing it. So if you put us at par, how well are we doing in comparison to other continents and countries?
I think every country or every continent has its own problem.
Okay.
And so we comparing ourselves to our neighboring countries, starting with Rwanda. Rwanda is seen to be doing very, very well. But in terms of universal health coverage, people are doing well in different things because it focuses on different aspects. So it's focusing on the proportion of services that is being provided, the proportion of the population that is being reached, the proportion of quality that is being provided, and a whole lot of things. So different countries are doing differently. So in terms of comparing ourselves to Ethiopia, Ethiopia is at the moment one of the shining stars of achieving universal health coverage. And then Rwanda is also doing very well. But then when we compare ourselves to places like Kenya, Nigeria, and other places, we are doing also very well. So it's not actually all size fits all. I think it depends on what your needs are and acknowledging truthfully what the challenges are and addressing them. And so I think this conference is going to create that platform of talking openly about some of the challenges.
And in fact, there was the Abuja Declaration in 2001, which says that all governments should allocate 15% of their budget to health. And then 10 years on, there was some kind of evaluation, and they found that it was only Tanzania that was able to achieve that 15%. But then, otherwise, 26 countries in Africa made some progress, including Ghana. And then there were some 11 others that went down, and then the rest of them were, they neither went up or down. So comparatively, we are on track. We are not there yet. And then also government, share of health expenditures has, in relation to GDP, has not really gone up, except for 2010, when it went to about 5.3%. But otherwise, it hovers around 3-point-something%. So we are still
doing well, but there's more to do. But let's talk about the conference and the theme that you chose for the conference, and why that theme.
Okay, so I think the conference is about trying to speak about universal health coverage, which is quite broad. But we thought that to focus on it, we need to focus on primary health care, basically making sure that everybody have access to health care. So that is the purpose of the theme, to linking the two major global agendas together, because this is also part of the SDGs. And we want, once we achieve some of these things, which is a long shot, once we achieve it, we are actually on our way there. So we selected this because we thought there was an opportunity for people to see the link, to actually talk honestly about some of the issues that are affecting us, and to bring all the stakeholders. There are certain stakeholders that we don't focus on, such as the NGOs, the health advocates, and other service providers, the private sector, for instance. And at the moment, majority, about 27% of health expenditure is out of pocket, which means that it's going to private sector, and sometimes even to the government sector. And so there is the need for us to have these conversations and bring different actors on board and say, okay, what are we doing well? How can we improve these things? And for that matter, that is the purpose of having to choose these two conferences and learning from others, because we are bringing people from all over the continent. So we are hoping this will be an opportunity.
So finally, touch on where it's happening, how we can access the place. Is it free or not?
It's happening at Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel, and from the 11th to the 14th of March 2019, and it's not free, unfortunately. There is a cost to it, and then also there are special discounts for students, and then also there's a day pass. So if you don't want to be there the whole time, you can register for a day, and then you can sit in the conference and then enjoy. And then there are opportunities for learning. The pre-conference will offer special sessions where you can learn, practical skills on how to do some of the analysis and all that. So it's good for students and people who want to have some kind of skills in analysis of health expenditures.
Very well. I'm sure you heard why you should be there on 11th to 14th at Kempinski Hotel to make sure you learn a thing thing or two about primary health care and universal health coverage, because it affects all of us. When you have an idea and you can start something small in your own corner, certainly it will spread like a wildfire across the whole continent and across Ghana, most importantly. I have been speaking to Dr. Gina Teddy, lecturer at GIMPA and founding coordinator for the Center for Health Systems and Policy Research, and also Dr. Genevieve Cecilia Ayete, senior lecturer with the School of Public Health, University of Ghana, who is also a member of Africa Health Economics and Policy Association Local Organizing Committee. We have been talking about the 5th and biennial scientific conference, which is happening this year. Make sure you partake in it because you learn a lot. But let's step out and run. What are we talking about? Nigeria's elections were postponed. What does that mean to us as Ghanaians? Does it have any impact? Let's find out as we run.
This is what it feels like. Nobody here knocking at my door. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
Good morning and welcome to Daily Rant here on Newday. My name is George Quinn, and this morning we're putting a spotlight on Africa and we zoom right into Nigeria because of the elections. They postponed it to February 23. It was supposed to take place on Saturday. INEC has just, cited some logistical challenges. And so the question is, what are people's expectations of this very election? Because it's the 6th after Nigeria's return to multi-party rule in 1999. We have 76 aspirants contesting for that very, seat. And so, what are the matters arising with regards to the elections? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
The first thing that comes to my mind is that there's something happening at the back. People are trying to stop the people from getting them out. That's the first that comes to my mind, because it doesn't make sense that you postpone an election just 5 hours. Didn't you know that your things haven't gone there? That doesn't make sense to me.
I think it's sheer incompetence, because you announce at 3 a.m. that you are now carefully reviewing your operational plan. Oh, this should have been done days, weeks, months before. You don't wait till the night before the election and postpone it and say that you are carefully reviewing your operational plan. I mean, what are we saying here? And this does not only speak or reflect on our continent, Nigeria as a country on this one, but it speaks to the entire Africa as a continent. It even reflects on Ghana. And I hope that while this is happening, also taking some lesson from it. I mean, we have people like Shato Said there and some other people there who are taking learnings from it. But I don't think that this speaks well of Africa.
Nigeria is like the most populous country in Africa. So whatever happens there concerns all of us. We all should take cue. And so for me, just a few hours or days to the elections and then it's called off. I don't know what the reason is. Is it to disenfranchise people? I just can't tell. But whatever it is, I just feel that they need to find a solution quickly and solve this problem.
A friend of mine is Nigerian, and then he went there to vote. Most of them, had it at the back of their mind that they want to just vote Buhari out. And so there was this momentum to vote him out. And then he's coming back to say that Buhari is part of this. And Atiku Abubakar has also blamed this thing for this plot.
Is the EC not independent of the president? So why would they blame Buhari for this? Why would they do that? I mean, that's my... If the EC is independent, an independent body who is to conduct this election, irrespective of any political affiliation whatsoever, then you want to believe that they will have a carefully thought through.
It's Africa, so when you say independence, you should know much.
Then it means that we are condoning and allowing such practices to continue.
We need to look at the impact. Now, this guy you have cited, for example, he needs to come back to Ghana.
He's not coming back. He wants to vote. He's not coming back.
But let's look at a lot of them who traveled and they have work to do here in Ghana. They would have to come back, and probably they may not be able to go back. And so it goes back to what I was saying earlier. They will not go back to vote, and it might affect somebody's vote.
In Africa, we can't rule out the fact that the ruling government plays a role with the EC. Definitely, because they are the only ones who have a little influence on the EC, since they probably select the heads of the current EC. So yes, it sends some signals which can be interpreted as wrong, especially when the votes go the other way. Everybody is like, okay, so Buhari intentionally did it so that he could win. If he loses, they'll say, okay, then maybe it's from the other side. So it sends a lot of mixed signals.
When you take the ballot paper, like 76 of them are vying for the seat, and does that really confirm the notion that we blacks are so enthused about power, want to clinch on power, and then use it for our own gains? You think that's what it is? 76 of them.
Well, if I could get an idea of where the 76 are coming from, because maybe the 76 are there to take some votes from a particular candidate. Maybe I think that's the plan, to reduce someone's votes by small. You see, go see, then the person has lost. Me, that's what I'm thinking. But 76, there, I don't think it's a ballot paper, it's a ballot flyer or something.
Tony, what do you think?
Well, Nigeria, just like Ghana, is a two-party country. It's the API and APC. So even if it's 1,000 aspirants or candidates, we know majority of the votes will go to one of the two persons, either Atiku or Buhari. So the other ones, I don't know what they are doing, but we should also encourage them, because the two-party system, myself, I'm not okay with it. It's about time we allowed another party, we give another party a chance to come up with whatever they want to come up with, the initiatives and policies, and how they can also help improve or grow the economy of the country.
Honestly, I wasn't sure for the 76, but I am rather interested in what are the 76 telling the voters. If they are telling them the same thing, then Nigeria is really at risk. Because you cannot go and be telling the people, I'll build roads for you.
I think what Nigerians really need now is, frequent electricity supply. Power supply is something that they need. So if there's an aspirant there who would want to, tell them, okay, I'll fix it, then why not? Don't vote.
But are we looking at if that aspirant can actually provide the electricity? Currently, Atiku was once a vice P, and Buhari is incumbent. Those are the two people who can actually tell us that, okay, I will fix your electricity for you. But for the other people, I'm not so sure about them.
Before the election, I quite remember I put something on my status. Oh, Nigerians head to the polls, blah, 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 blah. And someone was like, should we be concerned as Ghanaians? Or do you think, okay, we are not in Nigeria, so we don't really need to care? Do you think we should be bothered?
Yeah, we should be. You see, Nigeria is like our brother. They are more of our neighbors than even Togo or Cote d'Ivoire or whatever. Now, you notice that some of the things that used to happen there that was not heard of in Ghana has started happening here. You understand? So we cannot take away the fact that, it's in Nigeria. Nigerians are even living with us, votes even in Ghana and all of that. So it's basically just, shall I say, a reflection of what's happening. So yes, we should be bothered. We should take things much more into consideration. Because I'm wondering, 5 hours before the polls, are they saying that they didn't plan for it? Are they saying that, unless it's like some unforeseen event that happens one time, like some terrorist attack, nothing should make you postpone your polls 5 hours before time.
You mentioned Nigeria, Ghana. Most every time Nigeria, Ghana, so we should be bothered because we have a lot of our citizens also there. If anything happens and there's a violence, killings, our people are also going to die over there. So that one there, the person said they got it wrong.
Nigeria is the country in Africa that has the youngest youth population. And then there was this caption by CNN. It says, Buhari and Atiku are old men who want to lead this population. Do you see that as a shade? They were throwing shade.
Shade? No, I don't think it's really.
Is it what it is actually?
Yeah, yes, it's what it is because one is how old is it? 70 what? 76 and 72. Oh, Charlie. I think I don't know, but I think they need to get like more.
What happened to experience is the best teacher? Maybe they've got lots of intellect, so yeah, they can lead the country.
Oh yeah, the experience there is the best teacher, but I think the experienced people should be the advisors, not leading.
Of course, we need to encourage the youth to also take up certain roles. For example, boy can take somebody who's as young as 40-something, 50-something to be his vice president, and train or coach or govern a person to also be able to But I think it's about time Africa will also step up. Maybe yourself, you want to take up, maybe yourself or person. In 10 years' time, you also want to aspire, but it's about time. But to make you move forward.
But I think CNN is only saying this because Nigeria passed the law on and changed the age limit for presidency. If not, CNN would not have said this. However, it's not far-fetched. We cannot say that they don't have a point. They have a point. 72 and 76 trying to rule people who are averagely 35. I mean, we the youth need to start holding these people accountable. If they see accountability being demanded, they will set up a lot more. We need to change the way we hold them accountable. No violence, but like measured ways of holding them accountable.
We've had some young people who have been exposed to politics but have not been able to manage it well in terms of maturity, what to say, what not to say, the insults and all these things. So I actually think we need a blend, but the question is that you don't actually need a young person to lead young people. Neither do you need an old person to lead young people. You just need a leader that is competent. Yeah.
Well, today's discussion has been on the Nigerian elections and matters arising, and what the public are asking for is just peace to prevail, and the election is on the 23rd of February. And our reporter Komila Kuche is in Nigeria, bringing us to speed with happenings in that very country. And you can also share with us your thoughts. Just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook is TV3 Ghana, and on Twitter is News TV3. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
Into the news segment shortly, but I'm sure you do know that the Independent Nigerian Electoral Commission had postponed the Nigerian elections last Saturday. It will happen on the 23rd of February this month. Now, the representative out there, Komla Kluche, has been having a conversation with the UN Secretary General Special Rep of the West Africa and Sahel, Dr. Evan Chambers. Take a look at this conversation. We'll return with some more here on Newday.
Elections was postponed by the INEC just a few hours into the elections. Reactions have come in from various causes. Not too much of a pleasant one, though, but the reality they've got to deal with is the fact that the elections will happen on February 23, where INEC has indicated that by then all logistical challenges will be addressed. Well, a joint statement has been released by various observer missions, most especially the United Nations, ECOWAS, African Union, the European Union, as well as other bodies, and the Commonwealth, most especially as well. All of them a bit disappointed, but they will stay to monitor the elections. We're joined by Ghana's very own Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambers, who is the Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General and Head of the UN Office for West Africa and the Sahel. Doc, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Okay, I am very sure that this postponement of Nigeria's election has hit you probably in the belly. One, are you disappointed about the disappointment? Are you disappointed about the postponement?
Well, if I said that no, that obviously would not be the truth. At the same time, the United Nations, as with the rest of the international community, our posture has always been, how can we be most helpful to Nigeria as it seeks to conduct these elections? So, under the circumstances, our effort will not be to emphasize our disappointment, but rather to encourage the INEC to do all it can to deliver the elections in a week's time, that is on the 23rd. And you can see from the statement that was issued by all of us trying to speak with one voice that it was more of an encouragement to INEC. We know it's a huge task that it has on its hand, so we're encouraging it to make sure that whatever operational difficulties prevented it from holding the elections yesterday, that is on the 16th, it should focus on tackling these operational challenges so that on the 23rd there will be no reason whatsoever to have to postpone the elections again.
Do you think that the postponement of this election could affect the credibility of the process?
I do not think so. To be frank, UN in particular, we have been working with the INEC for well over a year. We do not underestimate the huge task at hand. I mean, to put it in a Ghanaian context, just imagine if the entire population of Ghana, the entire population, had to come out and vote 2 times in one day. That's the scale of the operation that one is dealing with. I mean, 84 million registered voters. And when you take into account that a good portion of the material are not locally manufactured, then bringing these in and making sure that they are available at all 126,000 polling points, polling stations, then it's quite a task. So if for one reason or the other, just for purely logistical, I mean, as long as we're all clear, and it is the case here, that it was not politically motivated, but purely logistically and operationally not possible to do the elections, then let's focus on ensuring that come the 23rd, the whole operation will run smoothly, and that Nigerians will be able to come out in their numbers and to cast their votes.
What signals or feedback are you getting from your monitoring team with regards to the political parties and the players relative to the postponement?
Well, I mean, we have contact with the political parties, the leadership of the political parties, and also they have actually expressed themselves. On the one hand, they've all expressed disappointment. They have been exposed to huge financial outlays. Many of them had to send. I mean, by the time the elections were cancelled, they had already deployed their agents. And you can imagine that for the 2 leading parties, the APC and the PDP, that they had deployed to all 126,000. That's a lot of expenditure that they have incurred. So they're disappointed. We're, however, also pleased about their understanding of the situation and their willingness to cooperate with the INEC and to give it the opportunity to get it right this time around. So our message to the political parties has been on the first hand to commend them for this disposition and to encourage them to continue to play by the rules and to allow the process to roll on smoothly so that on 23rd of February, the elections can be held with their cooperation, of course.
I was reading your report this morning, your 2017 report to the General Assembly on the general security situation in Nigeria. You expressed your disappointment about the Boko Haram insurgency and all of that. With regards to the elections, are you generally satisfied with the security arrangement?
Yes, there are 2 or 3 areas in which UN has placed particular interest or attention. One has been in the Northeast as a whole because of the activities of Boko Haram. But secondly, we know that there are other hotspots in Nigeria where there have been security challenges, such as in the Middle Belt, where there have been farmer-herder conflicts, which have resulted in a lot of death and destruction, displacements. And then, of course, in southern Kaduna State. So UN has indeed been involved in these states, in the Northeast as a whole, to ensure that the security arrangements are adequate, that INEC is capable of conducting elections there. And frankly, up to now, we have nothing to make us feel otherwise. As the security arrangements have been adequate, and we were confident that yesterday, that is on the 16th of February, elections could have been held. So certainly in a week's time, we expect the same security dispensation to be provided in the Northeast, in the Middle Belt, in places such as southern Kaduna, and other hotspots to allow the elections to be held. Our other concern has been with the IDPs. There's so many internally displaced persons from these conflicts, and we have an interest to be sure that they are not disenfranchised, that they are able to vote. And there again, I should commend INEC. They have put in place very good arrangements to ensure this. Also with the disabled, there's so many categories of the physically challenged persons, and again, we have engaged INEC, and INEC has put in place adequate arrangements to ensure that no Nigerian is disallowed from participating in the election because of a physical challenge that they may have.
Whilst talking about security arrangements and all of that, I'm quite sure that your monitoring team might have picked up early warning signals as well. What warning signals, early warning signals, has your team picked up, which is likely to breach the peace of the process?
Well, there are a number of states in Nigeria which historically have been known to be hotspots, either because of religious cleavages, very intense interpersonal political rivalries, or just ethnic and regional divides. And so it's prudent to focus on these and to work to prevent or preempt conflict. And that's why we very much commend the work of the National Peace Council. The National Peace, in fact, in Nigeria is called the National Peace Committee, chaired by General Absalam Abubakar. I've personally worked very closely with him. We, of course, supported his initiative to have the signing. 2 signings were done by presidential candidates. At the beginning of the campaigns, there was a signing ceremony. The president, former President Atiku, President Buhari, all the candidates signed to conduct peaceful campaigns. And indeed, that was the case. During the campaign period, we didn't witness any untoward events in the hotspots. Then, secondly, there was another signing ceremony to pledge to accept the results of the elections. And again, that was an occasion on which President Buhari and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar made public declarations to ensure that the elections, their supporters will behave properly and allow the elections to hold, and that at the end of the process, they would both accept the results. Now, which are the hotspots that are generally known? I mean, River State has always had a tendency to political violence during elections. Kano, Lagos, Kaduna, Benue State, and this time around Kwara State. So the UN has, in fact, deployed persons there to monitor the process and to see what efforts can be made to ensure that local capacities to mediate are also strengthened. I have personally visited most of these states and participated in state-level election peace conferences, which brought together stakeholders from wide spectrum of interest, women, youth, of course with the Electoral Commission, with security agencies, with the governors, you know, so high-level participation to preach peace, the need for peaceful elections. And we always remind Nigerians that elections in Nigeria are more than about just Nigeria. Because of the weight of the country in our region and in Africa, I mean, if elections go well and Nigeria is stable and prosperous, the whole region is benefit to that. On the other hand, if out of elections we have violence and a political crisis, the consequences will similarly be felt by the region, that is West Africa and indeed Africa. So that's why it is of concern. You refer to the report that I did the Secretary General, to the Security Council of the United Nations. In that report, it is emphasized that we all should work together, the entire international community, to support Nigeria, to ensure that these elections are peaceful and are credible, and that at the end of the day, Nigeria will come out stable and strong, because that will be to the benefit of all of us.
Doc, we are almost wrapping up, though. You have indicated that, well, they've all signed the peace accord. All the political parties have signed the peace accord. But what is your expectation of the various political actors before, during, and after the elections? What is the sort of commitment you are expecting from them before, during, and after the elections? Not just because they have signed an accord. It's a different thing signing an accord on a paper, but it's a different thing as well with respect to attitude on the ground.
You know, people have to act responsibly. And when you are a leader of a party and you're running, and mind you, I mean, this is an election in which there are 73 presidential candidates. Incidentally, one of, in my view, contributory factor to the fact that they couldn't hold the elections on time. I mean, the number of candidates and the ballot paper and the number of papers that had to be printed was just humongous. But each person who is putting themselves up for leadership of this country, that is Nigeria, and leadership of, they want to be senators, they want to be members of House of Representatives, they want to be governors, have a responsibility also as leaders to behave in a certain way. And that includes behaving in a manner that leads to peaceful coexistence of Nigerian communities.
Welcome back, and that was an exclusive conversation with Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers. Let's now get into the paper review segment. Daily Guide Status officers, Yoko retrieves 61 million Ghana cedis from tax defaulters, Veep convoy in accident, and Mahama lies to diplomats. Ejaku hits back. Chumbwa for hot over free zones money, and confusion in NDC over cash. Court orders Anas to appear. Sani Dara floors Tiger Eye. That's on the back page there. The Ghanaian Times front page. Galamseyers destroy 24,000-acre forest. Veep escapes unhurt in road crash. Ropa reps begin regional consultation. Nigeria postpones elections to Saturday. And, communities to pay full cost for sanitation facilities if World Bank funding exhausts. The Finder newspaper, two NACOP operatives interdicted for their alleged involvement in drought trafficking. GCB Bank sacks 56 over qualifications. Landlords risk prosecution for harboring undocumented foreigners. And Mahama must apologize for lying to diplomats, according to the government. Victims of crash involving Dr. Bawumia's convoy doing well. The BNF team. Inflation seen rising to 11% due to weak cedi. Cedi woes, aviation fuel raise airlines costs. And the Daily Graphic has a special edition. Starts off is putting out a new map of the Republic of Ghana. As you can tell, that's it from the Statistical Service of Ghana. That's a brand new map of the Republic of Ghana and the new official look. You grab a copy of the graphic and you can tell all the 16. This is how the map of Ghana looks like, well segmented and official. The new look of Ghana. We're disappointed. Nigerians in Ghana tell INEC for postponing presidential poll, but Entry Danso says it's a good decision. And Ioko saves 9,000 clients from 3 Ponzi schemes. We'll tell you more about that later. My guest this morning, Mr. Felix Kwachi Ofosu is a former Deputy Minister for Communications of the Republic of Ghana. Felix, welcome. Thank you very much for your time. And Mr. Emmanuel Asigri is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority. Emmanuel, good morning. Thank you for coming. Get closer to me a bit, please. How's the weekend?
I was okay.
It was okay for you?
Yes. If you permit me, let me do something.
What's on your mind?
No, it's just to notify you that you have a lot of viewers in the Abrase Bukolankese.
I see.
Yeah, places like Mori, Amosima, Brafo Yao.
I see.
Abradunkwa, Abakrampa, and other places are watching. So
I see.
I want to extend the
greetings to them this morning. Yesterday, the Ministry of Information.
My brother here speaks a different theater.
Oh,
he does.
He's a hard guy.
All right.
I speak free, but not
not
I speak very good free, but I try to sometimes play around.
You know, it is well. Felix, yesterday the Minister for Information held a press conference, the Sunday briefings that has come to stay, and he mentioned that President Mahama lied and that he must apologize. In that video he showed to the diplomatic society regarding the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election violence, of which a commission has been set to that effect. And he was very emphatic that this has put Ghana in a bad light in the public eye or in the international eye, and that is not the way to go. Do you still stand by the videos that Mr. Mahama showed? And in relation to that as well, the family of Mr. Ejaku, the late Mr. Ejaku, have also responded saying that, well, the videos that were shown were not taken at the Ayawaso West Wogon, they were taken at the funeral of the late Lance Corporal Tieku and all of that. So it's clear misinformation that has been put out there. What do you say?
Rather, we're not taken at the funeral. You're saying West Wogon?
No.
They
were not. Their reaction, the family's reaction was that they were not taken at that place.
No, at the funeral, because the issue was that in one of the videos, the security guys who were dancing were dancing at the late MP's funeral.
Right. And the family says, yes, no, that's not correct.
That's
right.
Not about...
Yes, that's true. That's true. Felix, what do you say?
Well, I mean, yesterday's press conference was clearly an exercise in very, very pedestrian propaganda by government. You know, the object was simple: to latch on to very insignificant matters in order to divert attention from the substance of the presentation that President Mahama did, which is that this government has deliberately decided to undermine the security of Ghanaians, the very people that it is obliged to protect, by sponsoring terrorists, and I call them terrorists, to unleash violence on supporters of the NDC in order to disrupt our mobilization towards the Ayawaso West Wogon by-election, and in the process use fear and intimidation to run roughshod over us. That is the substance of representation. And you see, as I listened to the information minister, I could not help but notice that he was subjecting us to mockery, you know, in the eyes of these diplomats.
How so?
Why? They're thinking that the diplomats are unaware of what is happening in Ghana, and that it is President Mahama's presentation that has made them aware of what is happening. It's ridiculous. Look, these diplomats, I'm sure, have more information about Ghana than our president. They are so meticulous in gathering information about their host country that they send very regular reports to their country. I'm sure you remember when WikiLeaks dropped the WikiLeaks expose. You saw the analysis that they did about key political actors, including President Akufo-Addo. And some of the things they wrote about him have actually come to fruition. They've come to pass, even as he's become president. So you should tell them that these diplomats are aware. The only reason why President Mahama met them was to draw their attention and galvanize them into bringing pressure to bear on this government that has chosen to sponsor terrorism against its political opponents. That was the thrust of the meeting with President Mahama. And when President Mahama met them, he showed them videos that all of us have seen. Videos that television stations and other public-spirited individuals have taken and shown publicly to everybody. And every Ghanaian has been horrified about the videos that have emerged. How these hoodlums, who have been clearly identified as members of a New Patriotic Party militant groups, set upon innocent Ghanaians and assaulted them, brutalized them, in a bid to ensure that their candidate got safe passage in that election. That is the substance. That is what we ought to be addressing and averting our attention to. That exercise that they held yesterday is a show in propaganda.
Well, President Mahama apologized.
Look, there's nothing to apologize
for. What
Look,
the family
apart from being so irresponsible as to terrorize their own citizens, this government also wants to reduce governance to a ridiculous exercise. The government that has used state resources to recruit these terrorists to visit mayhem on innocent citizens is not apologizing. They want the former president, who has only called for international pressure to be brought to bear on this government, to apologize. You know why it is necessary to call on the international community to react? This is a government that has no respect for public opinion. They don't respect what you say or what I say. They don't respect. Really? No, just a minute. I'll show you why. They don't respect what civil society says. They have no regard for the sensibilities of the Ghanaian people. They do what they like, and it doesn't matter how much you condemn the militancy that they are investing public resources in. They will never stand down the violence. So only two options are available to the Ghanaian.
Which is?
One of them is to vote against them in elections. Simply remove them out of government so that a more responsible government takes over. That will not pump national resources into the terrorism that we saw at Aras West. The second one, before then, is to bring adequate pressure from international sources to bear on them. Because you do know that the international community has a way of calling errant leaders to task. Indeed, in the run-up to the just recently postponed Nigerian election, the ICC chief prosecutor, Madame Fatou Bensouda, recorded a video in which she cautioned all Nigerian politicians to desist from any acts that undermine the human rights of Nigerians or that visits violence on Nigerians, lest the International Criminal Court will hold them accountable and try them if need be, so that they answer for their crimes. That is pressure that was brought to bear by the ICC on Nigerian politicians, so that even if they order some of these attacks on Nigerians, they will have it at the back of their mind that a day of accountability is coming. This government does not care what anybody says. Just a minute. It is the reason why when Nanka Bruce was assaulted at the Flagstaff House, the seat of government, the office of the president, and Ghanaians condemned it, absolutely nothing was done about it, even despite the existence of CCTV footage. That shows clearly the terrorists in the invisible forces who did that. When the Kumasi Delta forces stormed a court and unleashed mayhem, attacked everybody there, up to date, nobody has been arrested and held responsible.
I thought they went to court.
There are two different cases. It was the one in which the security coordinator was attacked, that they sent people to court. When they sent them to court, the first day they appeared in court, another group from the Delta forces attacked the court to free them. Even the one involving the security coordinator, government deliberately filed lesser charges so that they will go with a slap on the wrist. And when they finished, NPP officials paid their fines. Those people actually thanked the president for assisting them when they got into difficulty. But those who attacked the court are still at large. They have not been arrested. 3, recently, some of them also attacked the Minister of State, Dr. Koto Osei, at a meeting. They have not been held accountable, despite the knowledge about those who did that thing. And the Delta and Invisible Forces have gone on to unleash mayhem after mayhem after mayhem. They have attacked state institutions. They have even attacked private contractors, not too far away from here in cantonments. The UNACL flags. The UNDP flags. You recall how Delta Forces men stormed the place and threw out the contractor. So all of
I think you're giving me a lot of examples.
So the point
my question now is that this pressure that Mr. Mahama wants to use, or former President Mahama wants to use the international community to bring on the president or the government to act in a certain way, has that objective been achieved after showing?
Of course, what has happened is that, despite the fact that the international community knew ahead of time, because the UNDP actually issued a statement, and they did so on behalf of the United Nations, that shows that the international community has taken note of it. But they would assume naturally that we have the systems in place to be able to deal with this. Because look, yesterday I heard Kojo Oponkuma claim that where the diplomats come from, no political leader will engage them and show them these videos. What he forgets is that where the diplomats come from, if this thing happened, a number of things will happen. The government that sponsored this will fall. The president will be impeached. Everybody along the chain of command who authorized this thing will be arrested and imprisoned after prosecution. That is what happened to President Nixon. He ordered espionage, spying on the Democratic National Convention, their headquarters. There was a break-in which was detected. Because of that, And the fact that it was a president who authorized it and lied about it, he was impeached, he was removed from office. So the diplomats come from countries where the standards are extremely high. And if Kojo Oponkome's government were in the US or in the UK or Australia, that government will fall for sponsoring terrorism against its citizens. So they should stop wasting our time with those sort of propaganda.
The commission has not agreed on that yet.
You see, we don't need the commission to tell us what happened. What happened is glaring. It is in the public domain.
Okay.
Everybody saw these terrorists assaulting the people with that provocation.
Let
they went there on the basis of lies, which are falling flat. Even the appearance before the commission have exposed their lies. Look at the contradictions between the National Security Minister, Mr. Branda Champong, and the police officials who have so far appeared. The Interior Minister of Ghana is saying that he is not aware of how these people got access to police vehicles. So it should tell you that we have a government that is sponsoring terrorism, and rather than apologizing and showing contrition, they seek to use propaganda to divert attention from the issues that matter. Well, this morning President Obama has reacted on his Facebook wall. He is standing by what he did. It is a responsible thing to do. Unlike President Akufo-Addo, who lauded his party members at Etiwa for sharing the big let
Emmanuel have a bite.
And he wants the international community to act.
Emmanuel, Felix says, look, you are not showing us respect. Your government is not showing us respect. And that the call for apology on behalf of from President Mahama is uncalled for, and that you should rather be apologizing. What do you say?
Well, let me say good morning to viewers and then deal with the issue. It's far-fetched that I sit here this morning and I listen to my brother come up with all these things that he's putting out there with regards to a matter which is a fact. He's talking about the fact that no regard for Ghanaians and that, you know, we don't need anyone to put the facts before us. We have a former president who has lied in his quest to want to gain that recognition in his party to lead them. With that that Ghanaians will vote him back to power again. For me, I know that where we stand, the aim of the NDC, led by former President Mahama, is just to denigrate this government. But the facts would play out. I don't believe in doing these things where it has to look like you're always in to do equalization. But it is good for us to draw our attention to things that have happened in the past. But having said that, let me get to the issues. We have a presentation that was made to the Diplomatic Committee of Ghana. And when this happened, we saw video footages that had been put there, with the former president speaking to these video footages and then giving, commentary on these video footages. One about police officers who were dancing at the colleague's funeral ground, and he indicated that was at a late MP's funeral. Then he moved on to show another video where a vehicle which had moved around a certain area, because there's nothing to show to me that that was a polling station to do with the Ayawasu West Hogan by-election, alleging that that vehicle was the vehicle conveying the parliamentary candidate. When everybody in that constituency is aware that on that said day, Madam Lydia Lassan was in the company of Pius and then Honorable Esla Usu, not in a Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. Yet you have a former president who presided over a national security with all the intelligence apparatus under him, put all these things out there. And you have his former deputy minister of communications sit here tell us that the current information minister went on a propaganda spree. Well, I think that all these things that have played out, thank God we have other sources that would always inform the Ghanaian public to be able to make a decision on some of these things. It is not about what myself and Felix or others would sit on platforms like this to say that would be able to turn the minds of people around as to where they want to belong. It's an unfortunate event that happened, that we have a by-election, which is not the first time we are having this kind of a situation happen in our country. And then it ends up in this kind of a chaotic manner. But when we see people who presided over incidents of this nature today turn around and they say they are the angels who have never found themselves in this kind of a situation, this is where I come in and I say I don't want to do what is probably seen as equalization.
Because the people voted for change.
We need to draw our minds back to some of the happenings that have taken place in this country. It was not just one incident. Prior to 2012, it was put out there that President Akufo-Addo had met his supporters and said that we will not allow anyone to intimidate us, and for that matter, all die be die. And that was twisted through to when the Ghanaian public reposed their confidence on him to become the president of this country. If we take these comments that keep coming, when the former president in the Volta region talked about the antecedents of the party he belongs, the party he wants to lead, and what they can do to the Ghanaian public, not to MPP, he's put that behind him, and he's referring to all die be die. When you listen to all these things, and you ask yourself what it is we are hearing from the NDC today, when we had similar situations, and I'm saying that it is not something we should continue as a country. Why should we go for elections and you go to other jurisdictions? No, I won't use the Western world as example. Even within the African continent, and elections are going on and you don't seem to see anything happening. And when it comes to our situation, prior election, and we have it turning out in a violent, bloody manner, it is a shame on all of us. But when you find one party want to stand and then make it look as if, these are the people who are known to be these type of characters, then you can't but to bring these type of things.
Is President Mahama not worried?
You can't but to bring these type of things to remind us of where we are coming from. We saw the same national security operatives, which today have been seen as the worst thing that has happened to this country, happen at Cheponi. We saw a gentleman who shot, but for the timely intervention of, and his presence there, of Professor Frimpong Boateng, I believe these three, the three people who were involved, today probably would have been talking about them as history. He quickly moved in and then had to perform surgery on them to save the situation. Under whose reign did that happen? Under whose reign did that happen? The man who put the diplomatic community together suddenly forgot that under his reign, his interior minister, when Ghanaians, per the provisions in our laws, indicates that you can peacefully hold a demonstration. They just held a demonstration, and for the first time, places where hitherto Ghanaians would not have the opportunity to get close, let alone even have access to, they were able to get there. They were the Interior Ministry, they were the police headquarters, they were the presidency. No less a place but the presidency, where roads were blocked and allowed them to do all that because we believe in the tenets of our democratic principles and the rules of this country. In our situation, under President Mahama's reign, his Interior Minister came out to tell Ghanaians that violence begat violence. You see, let's allow some people who have what it takes, people who are with no blemish, point fingers at us.
Where do we
but
go
not
from
people,
here?
Hold on, let me make my point. Not people who just a couple of years ago, less than 4 years ago, led our country in similar situations.
But that's why the people voted for change, Emmanuel.
Of course, that is why you are seeing this current president do something about it. He's talking about the fact that they don't believe in, and we know they don't believe in this committee. It is not something that comes as a surprise to us. If you take what happened, the issues that I'm just putting out, the litany of issues that I'm just putting out, these are issues that happened under President Mahama. What did he do?
Well, an apology as is being demanded from Mr. Mahama. I've given you enough time.
Look,
from Mr. Mahama, solve the problem, the kind of tainting that you say has happened on the international front. And by you, I don't mean you individually. I'm talking about the information ministry that said this is a global embarrassment. We've been painted black and all of that. Will an apology solve the matter?
Well, for me, well, the information minister has put this out. But I, in my wildest dream, don't believe that President Mahama and the NDC would ever think that they've done anything wrong. And you can hear that from Felix. It is not something that we would get anything like even some sober reflection or sober pronouncement from them, let alone to talk about an apology. So it won't happen. So for me, such calls, I would not even bother myself to want to call on, him to apologize. It is going to be something he would continue to do till we move into the election. It is something they have decided that they would move with, because he goes to meet this group and he talks about this president, referring to him, making a pronouncement about the all die be die. It's a president who had preached violence, even in opposition to being in government.
Thank you.
The man who has not, is the one who I'm reminding Ghanaians of. I mean, it's not surprising, because he has indicated severally that Ghanaians have a short memory. But I believe that the Ghanaians who belong to my level. We don't have that short memory. We have memories that would remind us of things that happened under his reign.
President Akufo-Addo has said once that he doesn't respond to people who are not presidential candidates. You remember that comment?
People who are aspiring for. Yes.
He said that. Is that why the president has kept quiet?
No, but
over this particular matter.
When does this come in?
No, I'm just asking.
He doesn't need to respond to John Mahama. Okay. He doesn't need to respond to John Mahama. What he needs to do is run this country, and that's why he has put in a commission. I mean, why should President Akufo-Addo spend his time that each time former President John Mahama speaks, that he has to come and respond? No. I mean, it doesn't happen anywhere. I don't see the precedence anywhere, and I think that he has deviated from what is a norm.
Could that be why the NDC is trying to get him to respond by going to the international community to play videos and tell them?
No, but I mean, Felix just made a pronouncement here, which I also believe
because they're not going before the commission anyway.
Hold on. That is their own problem, which I also believe so. The national community is more aware of what is happening in this country than probably we can even think of. Because like I said, they do things in a very meticulous way. They have ways of gathering their information, and it happens across board. I mean, when we find ourselves on the other side, that's what we do. Where we have a particular interest, we also have a team of people there who find ways of picking information, intelligence as to what it is that is our interest. Okay. So these things are not things that, whether he said it to them or not, we just want to draw the attention of the Ghanaian public, including even the diplomatic community, that these videos that were put out there is no relation or correlation with the things that were alluded to, that these are videos from a funeral ground which had no relation. And you are not surprised.
If Mr. Mahama doesn't apologize, what happens?
My brother, we are not looking for that from him. If he doesn't apologize, we move on. But the fact of the matter is that these things that they think they can write on to make them look the better people of this country, it won't happen.
Okay.
Today we are talking about insecurity and all those things, and then you forget about the things that have happened to us as a country under these people. Felix is sitting here talking about public disrespect to the public. When he, as Deputy Communications Minister, they used to hold their press briefing at the presidency. We all watch and listen to them. And apart from that, his conduct on platforms like this, and he's aware how Ghanaians detested that. I have not seen any. I have not seen any.
Getting personal now.
No. I mean, he is sitting here and he is making pronouncements which I want to remind him of his own conduct being in office. I have not seen any of us, government officials, who have carried ourselves like we saw under President Mahama's reign. So these things, when they come, we just when they come, we just have to remind ourselves.
Really?
Well, you probably will have to make that. You probably have to make that. What's it called? Make that examples here for me.
Thank you very much,
so for me,
Felix.
These things
I would hope that he avoided that personal attack. But if it goes to
no personal attack.
But I kept quiet on
Felix. So
who doesn't remember President Akufo-Addo? The day that he addressed the nation at
I don't want us to turn this into an Akufo-Addo Mahama thing.
He had his state.
It's a national. So let me ask you a question.
Yes, I'm pointing at it. See,
let me ask you a question.
But see, I have a right to rebut the claims he made against me. It is fair that you allow me to do that. I'm saying that, look, we have not been half as arrogant as they have been. Why? From the president to the last person in the MPP, they show insufferable arrogance on a daily basis. When the minority protested against the sighting of the U.S. base in Ghana, you remember the address that President Akufo-Addo did that night, and the way he rained insults, basically claiming that we had gone for money from the U.S. and we're doing what we were doing against his government. So you recall the intemperate language that he used. Why? Don't we hear them on a daily basis? They are party officials. When the Invincible Forces and Delta Forces go and misbehave, they go and maim people, attack people. There is bloodletting, and they are told to disband them. What did they tell? That will be done over their dead bodies. What is more arrogant than that? Why? Didn't you see your communicators who you've made ministers today? We have not heard Cabo threaten that they will be. Please, let me make my point. Let me make my point. We've not heard Cabo say that there will be Afghanistan in Ghana. Have you ever heard an NDC communicator say that? We've not heard Samye Uku compare a Supreme Court judge's face to a deity, for which reason he was convicted for contempt. You've not heard that? Or you think we don't know that? Look, this is a serious platform. We are here to debate issues,
which is why I don't want us to do.
Yes, so the personal attack he made was completely uncalled for. It was unnecessary. So I only brought this.
Apologize.
No, from it's not necessary. Look, it's not necessary.
What have I said?
Look, it is not necessary. The point is that the facts exist. I can go on and on and cite you examples of people in this government who show a lot of arrogance. We've seen it. Why? The likes of Woon to me, who go about talking the way they do. Don't people hear them? Their general secretary, their deputy general secretary, who go about talking the way they do, don't we hear them? Didn't they have a general secretary who threatened Supreme Court justices with death? So what is he talking about? Why did they not talk the League of Intemperate Language every time that the West African Media Foundation did a poll on the use of bad language in our politics? So what is he talking about? He clearly does not have the facts. But coming to attack me personally will not dissuade me from making my point. The point is that.
So my question now, you have responded to. My question now is that some say President Mahama should have gone to the commission.
You see, Johnny,
if he wanted
to make his point. We have indicated that the acts that happened on the 31st of January at Ayawaso West Ogun were criminal acts. The people who engaged in the acts have been clearly identified as members of the MPP's militant groups or terrorist groups, if you like. The Minister of State in charge of national security has owned this group. He has said that they operated under the auspices of his office. So there's no dispute about what they did because it is there in the videos, who they are, because they are members of the MPP's militant groups, and who authorized them, the national security outfit. So this is a straightforward criminal matter. Sufficient evidence exists. If indeed there are gaps in the evidence, the police and other security agencies have the capacity to conduct investigations to fill those gaps and then proceed to prosecute them. They have not done that. They have pretended that this evidence does not exist, and they choose rather to hide behind the commission. And they know that the commission's work is such that people who come there to testify cannot be taken on in terms of a criminal trial based on their testimony. So they effectively have immunity. So they are simply using that to shield people who they know are guilty of this offense.
Do you trust
so
the
we
commission?
have said, listen, we have said that we don't believe that the commission approach is the way to go. What is required is a straightforward criminal investigation. That is why we as a party are not showing up. But if there are individuals in our party who feel that they want to work with the committee, they are free to do so. So that has been done. So it is not for President Mahama to appear before that commission to give them evidence. Again, the reason why it is necessary to meet the diplomatic community and ask for some international pressure to be brought to bear on this government is that even as we lamented the Ayawaso West Ogun violence and we all decried it and condemned it, the NPP was still secretly recruiting more thugs to be trained for the 2020 elections. You saw the letter signed by the Upper West Regional Security Liaison, and that letter has been spoken to by 3 FM, I think, and Joy FM. The man was interviewed. No, he was actually heard saying that indeed he authored that letter to all constituency chairmen in the Upper West region to bring party people to be trained using state resources for the 2020 elections. So even as we are condemning what happened at Ayawaso West Ogun and asking government to take action and desist from further conduct, they are secretly training people to engage in that sort of violence. So this is a government that clearly, as I said before, doesn't respect public opinion. They don't respect the fact that Ghanaians are very angry at what happened at Ayawaso West Ogun. They will not listen to anybody, and they are definitely not going to move away from investing public resources in violence as a means
how did you arrive at that conclusion? That the training is supposed to be for violence?
Look, first of all, the Upper West Regional Security Liaison is a public official. He works for the Regional Coordinating Council under their security setup. So he is paid with public resources. It is not his business to go about training militants of political parties. In any event, they are in power. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He has thousands of men under his command. The police service has 35,000 men. There is a customs service, there is immigration service, and other allied security agents. There is a BNI, there is defense intelligence, there is a foreign research department, and all other agencies at the disposal of this government who can maintain law and order in any election. Why is it necessary for them as a party to use state resources to go and train bandits, hoodlums, like we saw at Ayawaso West Ogun? The only reason is that they want to use violence and fear to intimidate supporters of the NDC so that they will have their way during elections. That is the only reason. Why? When they were
and you say you have a response to that?
But look, if you ask people in my party, they will tell you that both publicly and privately, I have said that we need to repose more confidence in the police and move away from using these vigilante groups, because we are only festering danger ahead of us.
The IGP has appealed to both parties.
No, the IGP should not be appealing. The IGP knows who is behind the Delta forces, who is behind the invisible forces. He should simply move and arrest them, because it is unlawful. You understand what I'm making?
So you're not mentioning your parties.
Listen,
you're not mentioning your parties.
The Hawks have absolutely no reference.
The ushers, as Adekuka called them.
Listen, if they are ushers, they are wardens.
Okay.
And we go on demonstration and they help to maintain law and order to ensure that people don't spill over. They are not the same as a militant.
Yes, they are not violent.
Why? Where is the record of violence? In this by-election, did you see any hawk engage in any violence? They were not there. It is a blatant falsehood that you used. Please. It is a falsehood. Look, it is a falsehood. It is a falsehood. No member of the Hawks or any other group that they claim belong to the NDC engage in any violence at West. That claim was a pretext for them to come and launch the violence that they engaged in. But I'm saying that it is not the place of the IGP to be lamenting the activities of militant groups. It is his duty to arrest those militant groups and their leaders, and prosecute them and jail them.
So not to appeal.
No, when you see the IGP talking that way, it means that he is helpless, he is powerless, he is been rendered powerless. But that is what it is. Why? When the IGP is appointed by the when a thief comes to Bedell TV3 studios, will the IGP appeal to thieves to stop stealing? He will, once you lodge a complaint, he will investigate it and seek to apprehend the thieves who came here. Won't he do that? So when militants have gone to engage in this violence, do you need me to tell you to go and arrest them? Do you come and appeal? In any event, does it not strike you as odd that as these terrorists were unleashing mayhem on the people of Ayaso West, policemen, regular policemen who were armed were standing by? Why do you think they were standing by?
The IGP says, look, disband all these groups, whether they are ushers, they are wardens, they are...
I have never agreed with the formation of militant groups or vigilante groups, as you call them, erroneous. I have never agreed to that. If you ask people in my party, they will tell you that I have been strong on that. I think that we should repose more confidence in the police. The MPP ultimately believes in the use of violence, so they have these militants. But I'm saying that if you are IGP, it is not your place to lament the existence of these groups. Once you determine that it is unlawful and that it poses a threat to our security, you act. If they don't disband, you arrest their leaders and prosecute them for festering terrorist groups. That is what you do. But the reason why he's unable to do that is that he knows that these people draw their power from the highest levels of government. That is why he's unable to do that, because he was appointed by somebody and he could lose his job. So you in the media should be putting pressure on people like him and others in positions of responsibility to act.
Doesn't it happen when the tables turn? This is
when
more like the same narrative.
Look, when we're in power, did you ever see this government give state resources to terrorists like that to go and do that at any by-election? And you see, they speak about by-election as if the only by-elections we've had are Itiwa and Shipani. Look, me, when I started politics, I served as a poly agent. No, please. When I started politics, I served as an agent, a poly agent at Offensive South in 2006 in the by-election. Mr. Atuahwe, Kwabi Champon, Nia Masana Mwali, and Neil Antevan Napoy were the subject of attacks from MPP hoodlums. At Amenfi West, people like Sly Mensa and others were attacked. You understand the point I'm making to you? So it is not the only time that we've had violence, and Amenfi West happened under an MPP government led by President Kufuor. But the point is that at no time has any government actively supported the use of violence like President Kufuor is doing. And that is what we must address, and stop skirting around the issue and asking for apologies from someone who has only laid bare the facts and asked the international community to act.
Mr. Sigri, let me come to you now. So the commission is sitting. The public has been worried about the what they call the contradictory comments from the people who have appeared so far. The media will appear today, but they see DSP Asare as a star because of how bare he spoke. And even though the NDC says they won't appear, many believe that this would end nowhere. What do you say?
Before I get to that, let me put these things out there to rebut to some of the statements. Felix is sitting here talking about the fact that the candidate's house, there was nobody there.
No, I didn't say there was nobody there. I didn't say.
Okay, you didn't have your vigilante.
Exactly, there were no military. They didn't have any weapons.
And nothing happened there. You said that. You said nothing happened there.
Yes, what happened there?
Your MP, who was the first to raise these issues, Sam George, my own good friend Sam George, on the video that has circulated and everyone has it, talks about the fact that in his own house, you come and do this in his own house. You are sitting here
but how does that
putting out propaganda that nothing happened in the man's house. Putting out propaganda.
I'm not interrupting you.
This every morning. I mean, I'm fine with this.
I'm not interrupting you. And I want to ask a question.
Listen,
are you suggesting that? No problem. Are you suggesting that if Sam George says or asks a question that you kill a man in his own house, in his own house, I beg your pardon. You kill a man in his own house, it means that there was some wrongdoing on the part of the NDC candidates and others in his house. Is that what you are suggesting?
We're talking about vigilante groups, and we said we had Azoka boys in his house.
You're saying that for a fact.
Of course, when the segment I made that made you come out to say that nothing happened. And I'm just drawing attention to the fact that we saw that happen. Now coming back to talk about arrogance and how President Akufo-Addo addressed the NDC and all that. I don't think that address President Akufo-Addo held was meant for the NDC. It was meant for the Ghanaian people. If you people found, if people found something in there that was not good for you, I just want to remind you, you would call him arrogant, and it's on you. It is something you people have decided from day one. Look, years before he became president, then you will run him down and then make him look the worst person or the worst politician we've ever had in this country. Mind you, if we take the election that brought us into office, we were not in office to have won that election with that convincing margin. And I would dare say that election was the most fairest election since 1992. And I say so because election results were collated through the pink sheets. When the systems couldn't work and they had to do it painstakingly for one pink sheet after the other. We saw the true numbers. So we don't need any state security apparatus to win the next election. Our actions and deeds would make us win. Let's talk about the commission. Coming back to talk about arrogance.
Let's talk about the commission.
President Akufo-Addo and any of his government officials, no day would descend and tell people that, for instance, I sit here and then somebody comes to speak and have never been in government. Then I refer to the person and tell the person that you've never been chief executive, so you can't come and then comment about what it is I do there. It won't happen. It won't happen. The President Akufo-Addo will refer to anyone that he or she has never been president before, and for that matter, he doesn't respond to aspirants. He made that statement not in the context of somebody being a presidential candidate who is seeking to lead this country. Let's distinguish the two. I mean, let's distinguish the two. Not when somebody is seeking to lead the country and then you come and say people have never been president before. That is what you would describe as arrogance. Coming to the issue of the commission, I think that the commission's work is ongoing. I mean,
have you been happy so far with the people who have appeared before?
Well, for me, I'm watching. I think that indeed some of the issues that have come up are not proper. That you have, people who should be running our security services coming in and they're not speaking with one voice. We would see how these men of integrity, men and women of integrity, or women of integrity who are on the commission would come out with their report. Because, I mean, it's quite interesting that, again, beyond just setting up this report, government has decided that this thing should be aired, and that's how come we are all seeing what's going on there. But to take into consideration, statements that are made from head of security agencies which are not, corroborating, I think that it's quite
are you using the commission as a cover-up, not to prosecute the people?
How can that be a cover-up? How can that be a cover-up? No, how can that be a cover-up? It is the NDC that is telling us that it's a cover-up and the issues. So far, the people who have appeared in there, which of them is a culprit? Then that needs to be subjected to some criminal prosecution that, looking at what has happened, such a person will get out of it. I think that this is rather a way to make us get to the bottom of the matter. So that anywhere we have someone trying to shield, when the facts are put before us all as Ghanaians, people will demand that once government put this commission in place, we should be able to see light at the end of the tunnel. So for me, I mean, also through, you have talked about the media appearing. Did the media get involved in any violent activity at Ayawaso? Did they get involved in any violent activity? So let's wait and see how the whole thing will end.
And I was there to report.
And I think that the terms of reference of the commission is spelled out clearly.
Right.
And there's nothing that tells me that this commission, this commission will be a cover-up commission. You see, it is something the NDC has decided to do. And it is because they have done this before. They've done this before and they think that it's going to happen to us. I mean, not too long, we saw the Brazil situation where a commission, when we knew of all the things that happened, and even when the white paper was issued, where certain steps were supposed to be taken, did it ever happen? Did it happen?
Will it happen?
Of course, that's what I'm saying. That these men and women of integrity who've been put there, I mean, check them. It is only when we had this commission put in place that we started seeing the political colors of these people. People who, over their lives, have built an integrity for themselves. Then we have NDC as usual. What they usually do is let's throw it out there. Let's make these people look.
If the commission puts together a report, is the president say so to act on the recommendations of the commission? Do we have commitment from the president to act?
Johnny, to start with, if the president didn't believe he wanted to get to the bottom of this matter, I don't think that he would have done anything about it. We've seen it. We've had presidents in this country where similar situations have happened and nothing has happened. Nothing has happened.
We need to go.
So for me, I have a lot of confidence in this whole matter that we will get to the bottom of the matter, and people who were duly culpable in this matter will be searched out and be put
very much. Emmanuel Asigri is the CEO of the National Youth Authority, and Felix Kwachiofosu He is the former Deputy Minister for Communication. Felix, thank you very much. Ima, thank you. Oh no, I didn't shortchange you. Small. Oh, small. But talking about forgive me. My P is rusty, but we'll try and see. Oh, find it to your turn. We are sure call your juba. Of your lawyer, fine. Nice one. Sammy, to your turn. Oh, your job. If you not fair, no, fine. Okay. It was in sale, Cassandra Kumba here. Akashi will tell scholarship or her some tete.
Well, nickel for him. I'm in school any a first year. Jamie, okay. Jame, I'm from about Louis Jame, no best I mean to more 5 years, Jame. Okay. No san traleni, care like a best, and what was Pue Koklo, Nakelaya. Koni mi managbe, koni mi machuni.
Okay. So essentially, what Paulina is saying is that she had made a request to the municipal assembly to, if you will, change the school for her son, because the previous school that they had, all the children had been taken out, and just 5 of them had been left in that school. And she thought that it was a major source of concern, because if the child who is in school, then it would give her the opportunity to also fend for herself. But Auntie Mila, it is saying, good morning. Bibi Aboko. Na Kofi Hunte saying, Kofi Huye, nice one. May share cerebral palsy scholarship. Kofi Huye.
Tampacho onya yesu no hwe besende ane di bodo original ankasa original che moye ben sara posi moye ben de I'm afraid no obe lekma na jekuku truth me am afraid I'm a witness nti your picture could pay US, the US ambassador, also be of motion free.
Okay.
Into that were Benjamin here, no more Mukunukrum, Pantodua Achimpoku.
Okay.
Into the able to do that at that Santa, addition of a fan of Madame Frey. It's import on you bringing the Beno or friend the Nacy, no, you bring in the Bemisha at the more direction of no buffet. To me, over be someone I'm and then also, or some bringing the we never prefer a picture with US. No, so I'm not more sure never free or you share your cocoa. We didn't know what Lekma. It's any other one the bay. Once more sharing happen, so you're not doing. Yeah, we into mood dreamy. That gun a crook a cracking. Not me, never for a picture could pay for. I will free at the hospital. It's about food to church and pictures. We never free. No club best standing. Them tell me phone, me back out account. Internet is full now. What do for the 1,000 for daddy? Some of them can what? Into that made that no monsieur that bring me purpose, Muslim cautious show affair. And some papa will be offended that was some of the me feeling so see me didn't tense them tense Miss Mitchell, I witness. Into one of my chamber, Cobus, Mr. That, influence show affair or no so. Then one Mr. Mappa friend of me, she made you so. When you're almost 8 years or 9 so it was our anchor, the men call. Mungwa barrier horn was a show of Madame Clara, oh, the minister, let me be say, no, what your pictures now, don't be said the way about first and Abufrano, my dinner wardrobe, no, the king, or Diamond, that the sister I love 3 years and look at me. She came in your wall, I will film 10 million.
1,000 Ghana cedis.
Dada.
What be sad, dear?
Papa, Bokoma for 10 million. Over na me de ko chai 10 million over no aye we dan mo ko hwe over no soon aka balance 50 na ma force bi a cham 10 100 Ghana me da konta ka 40 Ghana.
So Emilia's story is a very pathetic and heartbreaking one. She says that she realized that her child had a condition of cerebral palsy, and she approached a gentleman who used to supply water to her. She subsequently asked to be shown the social welfare department, and subsequently there was Waju that came into the mix. And then she also realized that her photographs had made it all the way to the United States of America, and a delegation had been sent to come and look for her to assist her. She found that awkward because in a country of 29.6 million people, at the time it wouldn't have been 29, by the way, maybe 25, but she found it awkward that in the whole country where social support was not forthcoming for them. And since that time, it's been more than 8 years, she's only gotten 1,000 Ghana cedis support from the state to take care of this boy. This 1,000 cedis had been used to procure an ovum, of which she is yet to take full custody of, because she owes a balance of 560 Ghana cedis to be able to. So she gets the ovum, she'll be able to run a business and possibly get it done. But
Daddy, excuse me, in fact, Mama Clara offered me with US or bay. And see, no, what the bringing a bed, baby fee. Or the macro make a cotton machine. I'm a telling them also a plum qualify and come real good one tell them up. Okay, or Bafako, no more baby girl. I will follow remember bread. And sometimes look of your enemy, the job of friend of dog. See me, Madame Crawford, my ben of a friend or ban on the bed day chat. I'm a friendly beginning of the deal, won't say, no more additional war. A life. And so, Madame, no. Okay, the Madame of Phenomenon to me stop at the Palmia Quay, Mission. Measure my machine, Magafa Befine. I me a day in Kakankas on my until on the moon, my men.
Charity from top of
them. I know some young sum of 1.5, 1.5. See them because we are on book or number the pampers and do not be Jemmy.
She further states that, well, she started off training as a seamstress, but because of the challenges she has had to leave her son sometimes for a caretaker, another young lady to take care. The baby had been maimed. In fact, his manhood had been, maimed, blade used to cut him and all of that. And so at the point, the person who was training her said that, well, I think that the son is better and more of importance to you, and so stay back and use your machine, a machine that was procured for her by some white donors as well. We'll get deeper into it. But, Enoch, let me come to you. When you hear these stories of people within your municipality, what runs through your mind?
Okay, hearing such stories or such concerns have been a major concern to us, because it is not easy for a mother to be carrying a child who is 8 years every day at her back. It's a major concern to us. So such issues, when they come to us, we try our very best to ensure that the mothers are given the necessary assistance needed to help them maybe in their trade or whatever they think they can do best to cater for the ward.
In this instance, when we had a conversation with Samuel Amati Ama, you said that you were going to support him through school.
Yeah.
What is the status now?
Okay, I think I spoke to your 3FM on Friday.
Right. You spoke to me on Community Connect, right?
Yeah. So I had gone with the school they proposed.
Thank you very much.
With the school they proposed, I went further to communicate with the owner of the school. So she gave me the various fees that had to be paid in a year for the ward to be in school.
Which school is that? Is it the school she was talking about?
Yes, the school she had proposed earlier.
Okay.
It was with God Cerebral Palsy Ghana Center.
Okay.
Okay.
With God's cerebral palsy. But they are supplying information.
Yes. No. So I'll come to that.
Okay.
She had told me all of those issues, so I will come to that. So I've gone further to talk to the owner of the school, and she's giving me the various fees to be paid for the work to be in the school. And in a year, the fee sums up to almost 6,000.
6,000, okay.
Okay. So after I had spoken to you, the mother of the child, Paulina, called me that she doesn't want the child to go to that school again. She wants the child to go to a boarding school.
Okay.
So she can have time to work and also fend for herself. Then I told her, okay, if that's the case, then go to the school you want, and get a prospectus, document of the school, then bring it to us. then we do the necessary processes to ensure that the child is sent to the school. Yes. So,
Paulina, me know small school and amena me haboy. Me know small.
Jeme school we mama attaching bla osama jema but that 4:30 kenti ya wo mbile jeme school to mo boarding mo kora ni agency me lele na kan ke gbe ke jeme ni akofo mo si se jeme ko be ba me wala me no hwembile ke mo ko ba hwa me to mo 6 pair school trim no na gbe me ni jeme no ni twa bra me na ke san ma to boarding ko ni akegbe kan ya si jeme school we be ni yo ebe mo ba ni eji o si me lage to mo school ko ni mu agency eche pa na so ma pa ni efi o de to wo me pa ko ni bile sa ni eya school ni me jeme ni ke afi ni kele mu efi le che ka se ni na nutumo sin ni na nutumo ko ko be jeme.
Okay, so she's explaining that well she doesn't like the school because of the numbers. The numbers are dwindling. There are about 5 or 6 of them in the school at this point. And she would wish that the child goes to a boarding school where she would have a multitude of students there, where he can mix a match with them to be able to find his mojo and find some bit of art and craft to be able to do and fend for himself later in life. But until be like now, we can assembly. We say school back here or there.
School, so right now, kind of color. Get now what to school or your vice. 3 years in you know, me too, Kuno. Member Umbra. The number Sunday, and you been on your opinion or find a headquarters. Them in from members, state, I'm the girl and come here cry. You can see a wrestling. You really need to be about Independence Square. Near paying back a day on fair forms. And I get no, a man son or boy will fail forms. It's one we name paying back what I do. And tell me the one back with your children where I can see for real. Funny advice. Sometimes I'm old. And so I can open me to Miss Okay Martin so or Yem Crony. And say a bay. Now already know. Gamu abroad from Bosham again, the nation or bear.
Yes, and most are me bisas ya me pe school amati. Okay, Zianka no asem.
The miss school no. Itinu ikunu idino da way yet. No wie. Into the edges so can you 30 million or brain alcohol. I went like
Mammy no
I don't mammy na to be them 30 million move pomaje. 100 years from court.
30 million, 3,000.
I be say you 14 2 days from for kuni already started the other day. Be to one man.
Asema okay, no you do.
Daddy, mo evidence with the books no. Signature na wo no you ni nyam daba. Second one so Mr. Freshman so we.
Okay, Marty, what's happening? What is it? Are there acts of corruption really?
No. It's not. I wouldn't say it's an act of corruption.
But is it true that somebody forged signatures to take or use them to take 3,000?
We've known the foundation to be her, so we know she was working with the lady.
Okay.
We know she was working with the lady. So when the request came. When the request came that they were celebrating Cerebral Palsy Week.
Okay.
And with the fund, we sometimes support such activities. So it was after the money had been given to the lady that it came that the lady had.
Okay.
The lady had, in a way, taking the association or should I say the foundation from her.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So. It's a known.
So what are you doing to retrieve that money? Because it's gone into the wrong hands.
Yeah. So we're in discussion with them. Very soon we'll as part of our first quarter meetings, we'll call both of them.
Now, what is the plan for this? I want a conclusion on this one for Mr. Amati.
So the plan here is, as I told you, we've asked the mother to get the school she wants for the child.
Okay. Well, I tell you, I school echo, school boarding school echo.
Boarding school scannic ba lolly nyimo nick ba to echo eko ka first ko ni nkele ba school polo fana after powe mama fe mamilele wo jala so gbe mi ni pe ken lamba chake eko we mo kala fa gbe ni ene ba chon mi agbene de gbe o sino agbene sa ni ma mu emi agbene no nye ma ya shipa to mo first here sika first ko ni ma fe no fia no e denga me na fo e ba me
school en me o school na ya ngbe o
school aga ko ye abude mo ko chon mi abude sa digbe
na 100 Ghana cedis oba wo chon de do ke a school e kono ya bi wujien ha ke ko ke ba so but if it's only a problem don't because me town na ula na school
me to na gbe ma
so in a transport oba no car ko wujien keke what pick lab okay so that's fine e wo be ba ko wujien menaju
anti mi la be aga bo le je no me bo ke ma ya
me bo ase ko na ma ya ka mo tumpa ti akonte fa ya
Ochina.
Okay, Ochina. Okay, so it's done. The conclusion is that Auntie Afi has to go look for the documents from a new school because she doesn't like the old one. The old one is almost going down, and so we've just provided transport for her to go to that school, pick the details, and pick the forms and take it. They've promised to go there tomorrow. We'll be following up on it. So when they bring it tomorrow, when will we get him in school? How long will it take? If they bring the things tomorrow,
when they bring it tomorrow, I can say I'll ensure that the process is fast tracked so that by the following Monday, God, if possible,
he can go to school.
Okay, the funds can be released for him too.
Okay, so we are calling here. Onyo talk about war. By next week, you can you more fade drama by school. Agreed. What no?
Fine
you. Oh, right. Oh, you look on over here. Okay, all right. Until Bila, that's it. Thank you very much. So the deal is done. We will follow through with it, and hopefully by next Monday we should see Mr. Master Samuel Amati Amai in his school uniform and heading straight to school. We want to see him in school. But thank you very much. Yeah, Radon. Thank you. Yeah, back on awesome later. Enoch, thank you very much for your time. And thank you very much to all our folks at LECMA. We are grateful to you. This has been brought to you by Star Ghana with support from Danida, UK Aid, and the European Union. We'll be back with some more here on Newday. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you very much. Happy birthday to Benjamin Owusu of the Kumasi Center for Collaborative Research, Tropical Medicine, and Kingsford Men's Science. Your birthday as well. Happy birthday to you. And to Linda Amu, sister to our own Kwame Amu here at TV3, is your birthday. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday to you. Now let's talk about vigilantism. And I have been privileged to be joined by a lawyer, former Chief of Staff of the Republic of Ghana, and a father of many. Nana Atudasi, Honorable Chief, good morning. Thank you very much for your time.
Very much.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, well,
good to see you. We won't let the old man rest.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so we'll pull you
that
out.
Early, you know.
How are you doing these days?
I'm doing fine, thank God, you know. At the age, you know, you go to sleep and you have all the diabetes and hypertension and whatnot rocking you. You wake up in the morning, you say, thank God.
Thank God. Thank God. So far, so good.
Yeah.
What have you been hearing on the airwaves these days about vigilantism?
Well, not just hearing, seeing. I mean, many of us woke up to some graphics and coming out from Iowa, so Wagon, and it showed, you know, a group of unidentified persons, you know, attacking and brutalizing people. The pictures are there. Yeah, I mean, one didn't think that was Ghana, you know, because over the last how many years, there's been a lot of training of our police and the military on human rights and human rights abuses and whatnot, you know. A lot of training has gone. Kofi Annan Peace Center has gone out. So for a belated conduct like that, people were shocked. So it's like, where did these people come from? And clearly emblazoned on the trucks with police, SWAT. And it was very difficult to believe that was our police. You get me? So if you are not the police, who are they? And then the Minister for National Security comes out to say they are our people.
Right.
for me as a lawyer, I mean, that was a little shocking because whether I, as Brian Achampong, or we, the national security, under our constitution, Article 85 is very clear. It's not permitted.
Right.
The National Security Council does not have power and authority to constitute a force. National security is simply, at best, intelligence collecting agency, headed by the president, the vice president, and whatnot. They don't have command authority. You see, troops must always be under command and control.
Right.
If you have troops who are not under command and control and discipline of a specific nature, then they become a problem. You get me?
Is that what you see here?
Yes. I mean, well, the IGP, you know, the very first day said these are not our men. You know,
right?
They are not our men. Then I don't think anybody was suggesting that they were military personnel. You know. So the only thing that could possibly be was either that they were vigilantes, you know, militia, or Praetorian guards, or simply a band of, you know, unidentified persons who are creating mayhem. And that is why I came out to say that if the IGP, for instance, knows about their people, if they would turn out to be police and they behave this way, the IGP must resign.
Why?
Well, because the clear abuses of human rights were shown, you know. If they were not police, and up to today, we don't know who they are, then the IGP, and he doesn't know who they are, the IGP must resign. Either way, you know, because the security of the state has been vested in the president, national security, and the internal security is vested in the IGP.
Must the IGP alone go if per this analogy? Must just the IGP go because there's a national security minister, there's another national security minister at the presidency, there's a BNI boss, there's this, there's that, there's a chain of security couples who are supposed to have ensured that this did not happen.
Yes.
And it did happen.
It's a security failure, it's a breach, and in my statement, I said the IGP must go because the vehicles that were used were marked, what do you call it, emblazoned police.
Right.
Now, if they were not police, I've told you, then he needs to resign on grounds of principle that somebody else is taking over his role. In the process, bringing the police establishment into disrepute. You got me? You must force people to stop doing what they ought not to be doing.
The IGP has been appealing to the two political parties who are supposed to be having these, you know, offshoots of vigilante groups. Many have called them hoodlums. He's appealing to them to disband them.
No.
Is that the right direction?
The IGP has a mandate, you see. Why he is very critical is that he has a mandate under the what do you call it, the law, you know, his force to maintain internal security. You see, so he cannot be appealing to this. I have this document. This is a speech I delivered recently at the Coalition for National Sovereignty. I have a compilation of all the appeals everybody else has made over the last 2 years, from the president, the IGP, the Minister for Interior, every Brian Achampong, statement by international entities, all the Catholic chiefs, CSOs, everybody is saying, and everybody said one thing: we should stamp out vigilantism. Two, we should punish vigilantism.
Why are we not able to do it, or why haven't we been able to do it?
Well, the IGP, I believe, or one of the deputy IGPs or so, yeah, I have a statement here, said that, well, they cannot act because of political interference.
Right.
This year. So we are unable to act because of political interference. You get me?
I get you. The IGP said recently that if we propose a political panacea or a solution to a situation, a security solution to a situation that's a political problem, we may be just massaging the sore and not treating it. He said it recently.
Yes, I'm saying.
So a suggestion that this is altogether political. If that is so, then why don't we go for the politicians? And we seem to be going for the IGP.
I'm saying that he has a statutory role, obligation, a constitutional obligation to maintain it. If people are not permitting you to do it, what do? You just sit down and say that. I've got it. It said 31st October 2017. It said, vigilantism, our hands are tied due to political interference. So says police PRO. That's David Okru.
David Okru,
yes. He's bemoaned the level of political interference that is affecting their discharge of duties. The underhand dealings of politicians have greatly hindered their fight against vigilantism in the country. The fear of being tagged and political interference from people with political authorities from this country is our problem. We've also identified the inability of people who seem to be affected to help the police investigate cases of this nature. I mean, we have entrusted. Look, we are talking, just a minute, sir. We've sovereignty under this constitution. That is the power that we ourselves have. We've all collectively given our power to the state, a government, voted a government to maintain law and order, so we can sleep and sleep in peace. Go to meetings. We have the right of association. Go to political meetings of our right. They will not be intimidated. Go and vote without being harassed or our votes being suppressed. Now, if it's not happening, somebody must take responsibility.
Is the IGP, or if you like, the police force, really independent as is stated here? Because another ACP in the police service had mentioned the structure of the police council. He talks about the president who appoints the IGP in consultation, of course. He talks about the vice president, who's the chairman of the police council. He talks about the interior minister, who is also a party person. He talks about, some other nominated members onto the police council who are party people. And so if you look at the structure of the police council, that must breathe down the neck of the IGP to do the right thing. It's a bigger chunk of it are party people. Is it about time we changed that provision in that constitution?
I wish I could join in supporting his view. I've seen it at the social media. And I think he makes very solid points, except that I disagree with the conclusion. You see, the Attorney General is also the Minister for Justice.
Right.
You see, the Constitution defines things in a certain way between the cold words and then the implementation, how things must actually work. But beyond it all, it is we need people, solid people who operate the system. You understand? The Constitution is very clear about the role of the police council. It says they shall, among others, 202, I believe, they control and direct the IGP.
Right.
You get me? For the control administration of the IGP. Now,
the kind of control.
Power. They have the control, over the IGP in that sense that you were saying. But first and foremost, the IGP is a professional man. He's a professional policeman.
How many times hasn't the president said to the IGP that make the laws work, go and arrest people?
Exactly.
And we haven't seen that.
Exactly.
How many times?
So if the president, I'm saying, and I have it, I've grabbed all the cuttings so many times. The president has said that vigilantism is a crime. This is what the president said. Vigilantism is a crime. Let's stop it. Let's crack down on it. But it's all happening. But the person who has the responsibility to crack down is all cracking the people down. What do we say to him?
It's one thing to say we condemn it, it's not good, and yet the parties, the NDC, the MPP, are holding on to whatever they call vigilante groups. They are holding on to it, and they say we condemn it, we don't like it, and whatever it is, it doesn't add up. The equation doesn't add up.
Yes, I agree with you, but it is the issue of impunity. You understand? Impunity. Impunity simply means that people do what they think that when they do, they will not be punished. The power to punish, to arrest and to punish is in the police.
So you think the IGP has failed in doing that?
Look, I have nothing personal against him. I'm saying that as a matter of principle, that we are sitting here today talking about the menace of vigilantism. In 2 years, the president has said the same thing.
Okay.
The minister for defense has said the same thing. Ambrose Derry, I have his statement here. He said, if you don't, if you are unable to deal with it, I will resign. You know, I
remember that.
He said will resign. Indeed, at a point in case, he said the police will be disciplined. They'll be punished. He called the regional commander. He said, you will be punished if you don't stem the rising.
Where do we go from here? What do you propose we do? To the IGP first, to the vice president, who is the chairman of the police council. What do you propose? Well,
I'm saying that. I've said last week or so, after seeing the event, I said that, look, first of all, we must set example. We must show a commitment to this particular cause, that is to stop this menace. If Mr. President, our president, in 2 years talks about stopping an event of such proportion, and it's not happening, it's sad, it's distressing. You understand? So he must crack the whip. He must, set some example by saying, Brian Achampon, as I said, must step down. The reason being simple. It's in my statement. He said we deployed him. He associated himself with a group.
There's a commission that's looking at it.
You say?
There's a commission, the Justice Short.
No, I'm not talking about the commission's work. I'm saying the day of the event.
When they
were saying yes, you see, he said we. I said, wow. So he knows the people. You understand?
Should he go too?
That was my statement. Because he will have to go for another reason, that he knows about the existence of that group is a problem. Because the Constitution in Article 85, Constitution Article 85 is absolutely clear that nobody, it said no agency, establishment or other organization concerned with national security shall be established except as provided under the Constitution.
Nana, thank you very much for your time. I'm most grateful. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but that's been Nana Tudatsi. He's a celebrated lawyer, distinguished one at that. He also holds a national honor. You can see that on his breast pocket right now. So, former Chief of Staff of the Republic of Ghana, and he's been sharing his thoughts about how to stop or stamp vigilantism. He says the IGP must call the shots. He must go out there, skip the appeal and the pleas, and go right there into the thick of things and stop that thing. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow, but know that if you can think it and your heart can believe it, only you can achieve it.